What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Alright, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed the return extravaganza to my original channel. Alright, so we got another video here today. This is the Art of the Subclass 2, and this is by El Maxo. Alright, we saw the first one, and that was pretty interesting, and he didn't cover a lot of the subclasses. Alright, but let's see what he's got about this one, so let's go.
What is a subclass? Seriously, that's not meant to be a trick question. You could probably list off dozens of examples to me like the Demo Knight and Pyro, but if I really pushed you on what made them a subclass, you'd probably come up short. Even though they are an integral part of TF2, there's never been a concrete definition for the community to consistently use. So look, as Australia's most elite professional gamer, I, El Maxo, would like to give you my personal and very much subjective definition of what a subclass actually is. A subclass is a playstyle which significantly deviates from the traditional way of playing a class. Now, to be honest with you, this definition does pose more questions than answers.
In personal, I would say
mean in this context.
I would say it's the equipment that does it, not just your playstyle, how you play it.
Class? Is it what the developers
like, I don't think Pyro
is
is a
what
subclass.
The kind of meta is? I get it. It's a very loose definition, but I think that's a good thing. Personally, I'm all for the wacky subclasses that the community is capable of coming up with. You know, the more the merrier. But I also understand that not everyone will agree with this definition, so feel free to voice your own opinions in the comments below. But alright, that's the boring stuff out of the way. We have a definition, so we can finally meet the rest of the game, and that all starts with
Fat Scout.
You know, Scout is super speedy, has the whole double jump thing, burst down enemy gamers, but also very squishy. You get hit by one too many splash rockets and oh, no more busted.
Nutty!
So let's say hypothetically we could trade off all those definitely not super fun movement abilities that definitely don't make Scouts so interesting to play in favor of more health. That sounds cool, I guess. This is the Fat Scout, and it is easily one of my personal favorite subclasses. As the name suggests, we have entered the alternate timeline where Scout had one too many
buckets of chicken
and put on an extra 200 pounds or so. His knees can't support that whole running quickly thing anymore, but at least he has a protective layer of fat cocooning his heart now, which yes, will shorten his life expectancy by decades, but look how big and strong he is now. With this subclass, we are ditching our selection of miniguns in favor of the shotgun, making us capable of dishing out big chunks of burst damage to any opponents nearby. There are technically 3 options to choose from here, but just like Brockhampton's Saturation trilogy, I like the one which came out second best. The family business does slightly less damage than the stock shotgun, but shoots faster and has a bigger clip size, making it, at least in my opinion, a lot more satisfying to use. Now, the best part of becoming the Fat Scout is that we can dedicate much less brain power to the whole moving and dodging projectiles thing, and instead focus on connecting fatty meat shots. The extra health means we can kind of just harass people for longer, meaning we actually have a pretty reliable 1v1 against most other classes. I mean, yeah, it kind of takes a while to move around the map now, and your hitbox is fucking massive, and spies and snipers will still make your life living hell, but it can be a worthwhile trade in certain situations. And look, whilst it is definitely possible to pop the fuck off with Fat Scout, I'd say its greatest asset is actually how damn funny it is. There's just something so damn goofy about the way Heavy holding his shotgun that never fails to make me smile. And for that, Fat Scout will always hold a dear place in my artery-clogged heart.
Battle Medic.
If I had to summarize Battle Medic in one sound, it would be a long and drawn out sigh. At some point in TF2's history, an absolute genius thought it would be a good idea to transform the sole healer in the game into an offensive class. And I use the word offensive very loosely here, because the only thing you will be offending as the Battle Medic are your dying teammates who are in desperate need of healing. God, wait, sorry, I'll try and be as unbiased as possible.
Desperate need of healing.
Let's do it from the top. The Battle Medic's primary combat tool is the Blutsauger, which is a needle gun that reduces medics' passive healing from 3 health per second down to 1 health per second, in exchange for vampire needles which reward you with 3 health every time they land. This transforms the medic from someone who is super dependent on the teammates around them into someone who can sometimes hold their own weight in a 1v1. I mean, the Blutsauger can actually be kind of effective in duels, as the health you get back means you have a bunch more sustain. But the problem is, how do I put this? You're a medic, you're supposed to heal people and
You're
not
supposed to
hurt
med.
them. Like, yeah, you can pick up some kills here and there, but compare that to the infinite more utility a medic who, you know, heals their team can provide. Medics are hard enough to come by in casual, so when it turns out the one on your team is beelining straight for the front line to duel enemy gamers, it's just kind of disappointing. There are some other tools at a battle medic's disposal. I mean, those from the RA7 school of thought seem to really like the stock bonesaw, and given that medic has a hidden stat guaranteeing random crits in melee combat, you can punish any overconfident enemies pretty hard who think they can go toe to toe with you. Look, if you enjoy the battle medic, more power to you. Play the game however you want. I guess the fact that there is a subclass for medic is a good idea in theory, opening up more gameplay styles for a class who is traditionally restricted to just healing is cool,
God, that one's
I guess.
dizzy.
But I just want you to know that I shed a single, really dramatic tear in black and white every time I slowly burn to death when you continue to ignore me and spam needles into a choke point.
Pyro Shark.
There are some pretty niche and wacky subclasses in TF2, but Pyro Shark especially sticks out to me because of how goddamn absurd it is. The whole playstyle revolves around one weapon and one weapon only, the Neon Annihilator. I talked a little bit about this weapon in my last video and how Pybros can use it to remove sappers, but there's also another little quirky stat to this guy. 100% critical hits versus wet players. It's a pretty strange mechanic in all honesty, but if you have recently gone for a swim in something like 2 Fort's beautiful sewers or had a bottle of human fluids thrown at you, you are classified as wet, meaning a Pyro Shark can deal a comical amount of damage to you. These kills on enemies enveloped in Girardi or Mad Milk are pretty rare to come by, and most Pyro Sharks, as the name suggests, like to inhabit open bodies of water. Think 2 Fort sewers, Lakeside. Lakeside has some water.
Maybe.
Powerhouse, there's some water there. Yeah, come to think of it, these guys are pretty much only on 2 Fort. They lurk in the shadows and wait for some unfortunate soul to fall off the high ground into the murky waters before they quickly swarm them and gobble them all up. Truly grotesque, but also kind of fun. There's just something so beautiful about taking the pyromaniac, you know, pyro, Greek for fire, aka
Pyro.
not water, and transforming them into an aquatic assassin. It is gimmicky as hell and serves absolutely no function outside of some very niche situations where there happens to be water in a small part of a map, where you have a scout or sniper who happens to drench an enemy in piss or milk. A lot of the time these guys will turn out to be friendlies anyway, who only act in self-defense. But if you do manage to find an aggressive one roaming around a body of water, I hope it goes without saying, but don't go in the water. When they sense blood,
there will be carnage.
There will be carnage.
Sniper has been at the center of balanced discussion lately, as after 15 years, some people in the community have gotten a little fed up with the fact that he can remove any light class in the game from across the map in 0.2 seconds. This does take an insane amount of skill to pull off consistently, and the solution is to just respect their sightline, but hey, I get it. There's no need to fret, because we can just actively handicap ourselves by swapping out that bolt action sniper rifle for a bow and arrow. And look, I'm gonna come straight out the gate and say it. The Huntsman is objectively worse than the sniper rifle in pretty much every way imaginable. You are less reliable at longer ranges, the projectile is more unpredictable, and you have a bunch less ammo. But,
and it can be
as
air
it should be abundantly
too.
clear by now, something being bad doesn't mean something can't be fun. I've talked about the Huntsman in depth in another video, but basically, we are transforming the sniper from this long-range hit scan assassin into a mid-range projectile one. We get to embrace our inner Clash of Clans archer and launch these highly precise arrows where we calculate the wind speed, the enemy's movement pattern, and the charge time of our arrow to secure impeccable frags on enemy gamers. Or we can just like spam it into a choke. Whatever works for you. The Huntsman Sniper does have a somewhat notorious reputation, which I definitely did not bolster in my video, because the hitbox is a little generous, and some people think it doesn't take all that much skill to use this thing, earning it the title of Luxman. I've honestly bashed on it more than I should have in the past, because there is definitely a lot of skill to using a weapon like this in TF2, but sometimes you can't help but feel like the kills you are getting are kinda complete and utter bullshit. You'll just start randomly slinging arrows off into a choke point or over a hill, and then nope, I definitely meant to do that. Kills like that definitely don't feel the most deserved, but by the same token, it's oddly satisfying in its own weird way, and it's kind of why I prefer using it over the stock rifle.
Well, you use it a
like
lot
to accompany
in
the Huntsman
Groot
with the SMG, because if you happen to hit a light class for 120, it only takes one shot from your chopper to instantly kill them. You can also take the Girardi and Bushwhacker if you just feel like absolutely ruining some spy's day, but aside from that, that's basically all there is to it. Enjoy the virtual slot machine that is using this weapon in a choke point.
And he got a guy edge up like a backstab.
Open Google, search
Boxer.
best boxers of all time, click literally any of the tier lists and scroll down to number 1 and tell me who you see. Floyd Mayweather, what the fuck is... It's Heavy TF2 with a record of 100 wins, all by first round knockout and no losses. As he once famously said, float like a bear and sting also like a bear. Now what separated this Russian beast from all the other competition? Was it his agile footwork, his powerful left hook, his insane stamina? Well, no, actually, it was his buffalo steak sandwich. This secondary is core to the boxing heavy subclass.
That's why that's another thing used on Degree Keep.
Benefits. Firstly, we get a 30% movement speed increase, which makes it a lot easier for this fatty to hunt down opponents, and on top of that, we can deal guaranteed mini crits with each swing of our fist. This does unfortunately come at the cost of 20% increased damage vulnerability, and we are locked into using our melee weapon for 15 seconds, which means once we consume that tender coated steak, we are fully committed to becoming the boxing heavy. The melee choice here is pretty obvious. If you're not using the killing gloves of boxing, you just ain't doing it right, because these things grant us 5 seconds of guaranteed crits for every kill you secure, which can lead to these disgusting chain kills where you bonk gamer after gamer after gamer. I can't lie though, this isn't the most common occurrence, because the boxing heavy is not the strongest subclass. You get kited by enemies really easily, and that extra damage vulnerability on the steak just adds insult to injury. Ideally, you'll be able to catch an enemy off guard on the flank and hit him with a clean right hook to get the ball rolling into a crit hit spree, but besides that, you're probably better off playing Demo Knight, which is a lot more feasible in most situations. You might not be able to replicate the prime performances of boxers like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson every time you pick the subclass, but once in a blue moon, you might just
but you
find
can do the
yourself
standing here meme. Gunspy. Oh yeah.
Ah yes, Gunspy. I am definitely not biased about my love for this subclass, because it's not like I dressed up as the spy and ran around Sydney for a video to show my love for it. That would be silly. Come on, dude. Relative to some of these other subclasses, Gunspy is pretty straightforward. You forgo the whole backstabbing thing in favor of using your gun. Now this might sound like a pretty stupid decision, but Spy's selection of revolvers are more than capable of dishing out pretty damn reliable damage at mid to close range. Now that isn't to say you will be as effective as the other power classes. Quite the opposite actually, but if you manage to set up a 1v1 on your own terms, then you can hit at least half your shots. You can get away with a lot more than you'd probably expect. Now if we were back in the good old days and putting ourselves in places we definitely should not be, I would easily recommend that you take the Ambassador, because it allowed you to deal that beautiful 102 damage headshot from anywhere on the map. But ever since Jungle Inferno, headshots have been subject to damage fall off, which essentially halves your effective damage output at longer ranges. It's by no means a bad choice, as if you have the aim of a god, it deals way more damage than any other option. But if you want more consistent damage output, I would of course recommend you the Path of John, aka the stock revolver. It's not as flashy as its brethren, but if you suck at hitting headshots like me, it's pretty much a direct upgrade, and that's a win in my books. Enemies also seem to underestimate the sheer amount of power a default Gunspy holds, and won't expect you to clean the floor with them in just 3 or 4 shots. I didn't bring this up in my dedicated Gunspy video, but a lot of people suggested taking things like the Dead Ringer in case you get into any sticky situations and want a quick way out, and also the Spicicle, as given that we won't be hitting any backstabs, it provides us with that nice defensive upside against Pyros and their afterburn damage. Overall, this definitely leans on the more gimmicky side of the subclass spectrum, but is definitely feasible if you have the talent to back it up. Plus, if you're a fellow disciple of John like myself, you look drippy as fuck in that default tux as you gun down enemy gamers, which scores you some extra style points.
Dude, I'm surprised you did not get arrested. Engineer.
You know, if I could personally thank Uncle Dane for doing anything for the TF2 community, would definitely be popularizing the subclass, because holy shit is it fun. The Engineer takes a lot of notes out of the Battle Engineer's notebook, except instead of changing the answers slightly, he says fuck it and ramps everything up to 100. You know how Battle Engineers like to play more aggressively around the front line with their mini sentries? Well, an Engineer takes that idea and says, what if we go even deeper and spawn camp the entire enemy team with a level 3 sentry? That could be fun. This whole subclass revolves around the idea of getting cheap ass kills with your sentry gun when the enemy team very much does not expect it. Your primary goal as the Engineer is making your way behind the enemy team to set up some very funny sentries, which, as you'd probably expect, isn't all that easy. On offense, your chances of getting behind are pretty damn slim without something like an Uber, as you are almost entirely relying on your enemies being so incompetent that they just ignore you walking past them. On defense, it's a little easier, as you can set up a sneaky teleporter in a bush or some other another hidden spot, which you can use later in the game to teleport behind. This does come at the cost of your team not having a teleporter for most, if not the entire game, and on something like Payload, you also have to intentionally lose a bunch of checkpoints before the enemy team's spawn moves forward, which does make this a kinda selfish subclass, but hey, when it works, it works. My personal favourite spot to Ninja has to be on Badwater defense, because it is so damn easy to hide a teleporter somewhere your enemies won't look, and B, it is so damn easy to spawn camp the entire enemy team with a level 3 sentry.
Bloodwater.
No
I hid my teleporter underwater,
it is usually
and I sneak around and build my sentry right there, but then I leave the sentry there, and I leave.
Without making an entrance. Meaning
I have my dispenser off somewhere way far away, so they're dealing with my sentry, they kill it, and they're like, well, there's nobody up there. When they search that whole building, they'll search that whole building, and I'm not there. And I'll just wait a bit, and I'll wait a bit, and then I'll sneak back up there, I'll rebuild my sentry, go back up there, put it down.
Once you have everything set up and are ready for a minor amount of trolling, you can carry your entire team with how hard you can spawn camp. Your sentry probably won't last forever, but delaying your enemies for a solid 30 seconds to a minute can be a deal breaker in a close game of TF2. Overall, this is somehow one of the most feasible subclasses I have mentioned in this video, and is definitely worth a shot for any trolling enthusiasts.
Bleed Scout. Oh yeah,
the Bleed Scout. Really? Okay, come on. This feels like a little bottom of the barrel now. What else
that doesn't seem like a subclass. Demo pan?
No, hold on. That's just demo with the pan. Like, yeah, okay, I guess it's a subclass, but there isn't any substance here. Is there anything else? The Spy Crab.
Spy Crab.
The Observer.
The Observer.
The Skunt. Is that even...
Oh god,
what
Skunt.
Look, I can't cover them all. I said it once, and I'll say it again, but the very nature of subclasses means there are near infinite possibilities. I try to cover all the major ones, but I will inevitably still get some comments about how I missed the Disco Demo or the Prancing Pyro. I don't know.
No, those
there
aren't
you go.
subclasses.
We've got all the big boys covered now.
Those are just
Thank you for watching, and remember that this video was sponsored by me. It's sponsored by me. Feel free to throw virtual coins at me on Patreon if you're liking what you see. And also join my Discord if you want to make my admins have an even harder time moderating the server.
Okay, Gun Spy Unleashed. What the hell, man? Alrighty, so. The art of the subclass. Yeah, some of those things I don't consider subclasses because it's not a matter of your equipment. It's literally a matter of what you personally do. So, but like, yeah, the Gun Spy, I will say, yeah, that's a subclass because you're not relying on your backstabs or your cloaking anymore. Like a typical spy, instead you're using mostly your gun. So that's like a sort of a play style, but you're focusing on more of a different weapon. You know? Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe, definitely click on the link to the original and get down to El Maxo's channel, like the original and sub to him. It's good to be back. I will see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.